Guys, real quick, because my man is waiting already, and I want to introduce him because he's the man, the myth, the
Let's
legend.
go, man.
He's the man, the myth, the legend, and I want to make sure he is properly introduced. You guys know him. MicroMike's joining the platform. Mike, welcome to the show.
Shout out, Mike.
Thank you for joining. Look at him; he's fired up. Wait, we're both at Ford Field. Can you believe that? I'll be there today.
Crazy, man. How we both at Ford Field and I got no one in the stands and you got everybody.
I Hollywood. It's
at the same spot.
Yeah, we're in the same spot. Mike's around.
What's going on there?
Mike, how you feeling this morning, my man? How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm feeling great. We're literally 60 minutes away from being from a Super Bowl. Like, this is the greatest thing ever. I don't know about you guys, but it's been rough this week. Like, I have nerves the whole week. All I'm thinking about is Detroit Lions is Super Bowl. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, Mike, we kind of went through and talked about it, at least where our concerns are. I think offensively, Mike, and I think you would agree with me, this offense can compete with anybody in the NFL. Where our questions come into play is defensively, specifically their red zone defense. Because, Mike, I can make an argument that their red zone defense is why they've made it this far, right? And is there any part of you, or where's your confidence level, at least in this red zone defense? Can they keep up what they've been doing? No doubt it's the biggest test they've had, but what are your thoughts on just what they're going to have to do defensively to win this football game? Because it's a tough task.
To me, we have to get a couple turnovers in this game. I think that's really important. We are a bend but not break defense, but we need to get those turnovers back to the offense. Because unlike the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this offense can score in the red zone, the San Francisco 49ers, and I think it's imperative that we get a couple turnovers in this game and at least a couple of field goals instead of going touchdowns for the 49ers. They're just a really complete team offensively and defensively. It's going to take everything good. That's why Booner was saying, like, we need positive vibes. I agree. Manifest it, man. Manifest nothing but good, nothing but winning.
All positive vibes today, and I don't want to
positive.
see anything negative, no bad vibes. Mike, I want to ask you too real quick. And my name's, I've never met you, Mike. Booner, good to meet you. But confidence level of this defensive line, I think like the biggest thing is getting to Brock Purdy today. Like, I feel like every single bad game he's had he gets crushed all game long, and his reaction time, like that's where you kind of get to him. Do you have confidence level in this defensive line? I have a lot of confidence in Hutch. I think it just comes down to what these other guys can do at the end of the day.
I do, because if you look at the 49ers offensive line, they're ranked 15 in the NFL. It's not like they're the greatest offensive line in the world. Yeah, they got Trent Williams over there, but we have an Aiden Hutchinson. You know, we got players that can attack the quarterback as well. And what's good about this defensive line is they stop the run first. And this whole offense for the 49ers predicated on running the football. So if you could slow McCaffrey down, they're going to get to Brock Purdy. It's going to happen because they're going to have to pass at some point. And Aiden Hutchinson, Mr. 8 sacks in 4 games, I fully expect him to get a couple in there. And we've seen Brock Purdy make mistakes. When he gets flustered, he'll throw interceptions. We've seen it in the Ravens game. We've seen it in the 3-game losing stretch that they had. And I think the Lions can win the matchup. Now, if you would have asked me a month and a half ago, I'd have been like, I'm really worried about the Lions' defensive line because they weren't getting pressure. But all of a sudden, they really started doing a good job with the safety blitzes and the corner blitzes and getting to the quarterback.
You got something, Lucas?
Yeah. I was making sure my Wi-Fi was bugging there for a second, so I was making sure I was good. Okay, Mike, nice to meet you as well, Lucas. But and understandably so, all this noise around the game as far as the Lions is with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. But do you think there's a chance that David Montgomery has an impact on this game as well?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it's going to be those games where I think it's going to be really gritty. Remember watching the game for the Dallas Cowboys, how it felt like sometimes the defensive line was getting there, but we were making some plays as well. It's going to be one of those games in here, and you got to have Montgomery. Honestly, between the tackles, he's been better than Jahmyr Gibbs, I say, the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. He is hard to tackle, and we're going to have to get gritty yards. I don't think we're going to be getting 7, 8 yards a carry in this game. I think you're going to have to go in between the tackles, and you're going to have to get those 4 or 5 yards from David Montgomery. He may be the most important player on this team for today, getting those big down. And there's going to be some 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 5s in there. And we've seen what Denver Broncos said. Dan Campbell, they'll hand it off in those downs. So I think David Montgomery's got to have a massive game today. He's going to take a beating, and he's going to have to overcome it.
Yeah, and speaking of just that run game, right? You have Jonah Jackson, who's out officially. Yodi will be filling in at that left guard spot, and then of course Frank Ragnow playing at about 70%. He's tough as nails, by the way, with everything that he's kind of had to endure. This is one of the best, arguably the best defensive line in the NFL. Where are you at with just how important it is? Because Frank said it best, and this team's kind of echoed his sentiments. This team will go as far as the offensive line will take them.
Yes.
Where are you at with just the injuries they have going into this game? And what's your confidence level that, listen, not only will they be able to run the football effectively, but they can protect Jared Goff, because we understand when he's protected, he's one of the best in the NFL.
I'm confident they're going to do that in this game. I know Woshika, he's going to be the left guard. He's been hotter cold with him.
He locked that in. That was
amazing. Well, because he's been all year. It's like we have to rely on him quite a bit, right? It's him or Dan Skipper. But Awushika, he's been hot or cold, and I think he's got to be hot in this game. There's no choice. Frank Ragnow, we know what he's going to bring, but that Jonah Jackson injury stinks. But hopefully he has a hot game. That's the thing, because they got some good interior defensive tackles over there for San Francisco, and the guards and Frank Ragnow are going to have to do their job. I'm confident Frank can do it. Graham Glasgow, Wushika. Oh, it's 50-50, man. Come on, man. Have the best game of your life today.
Real quick, Robert Lane, thank you for $5 to set a donation chain. Keep bringing Mike on, Jeff. Let's fucking go Lions. Appreciate you, Robert, a ton.
Hey,
Booner, you got anything?
Yeah, I got some, Mike, real quick too, because I don't know, like the Dallas game, there was like that controversy to where obviously Dan kept like the 2-point conversion, 7-yard line. I feel like, and I talked about it a lot on shows too, where it was like, when this comes to the playoffs, like, Dan, we kind of want you to take that field goal. Let's go to OT. And there's like that's been a conversation. It felt like the last 2 playoff games, when it came down to it, Dan kicked the field goal and he took the points. And I know you mentioned kind of taking field goals as well. How big do you think there's like a kind of a worry that Dan Campbell goes in today and maybe a little too aggressive, or do you think I feel like he's figured it out a little bit? But I guess we just never know. Like, it could come down to it, and then he does it, and you were like, oh, don't do that. Are you confident in that, or is that kind of a back burner on our head?
Like, I'm confident at like 70%. But the thing is sometimes we've seen Dan Campbell where he gets like extremely aggressive and he goes for it on every 4th down. And I think you got to be cautious with a defensive line like this. We've seen in games where we just weren't winning the line of scrimmage, and it's like, don't go for it then. It's 4th and 3. We haven't won the line of scrimmage all game long. Don't do it. He does it, and then we don't get it. I think we have to have a feel for this game. If the Lions are able to get these 4 or 5 yard run chunks, okay, maybe be a little more aggressive. But if these 4 or 5s are turning into 2 or 1 or 3, I think you got to be less cautious on that. See how the game feels. Look, if the defensive line's playing like they did with Green Bay Packers, go for it, go for it, go for it. But if they're playing like, ooh, it's tough, each yard is a grind, I think we should be a little less aggressive. Feel of the game, though, for this one, because we don't know what defensive line is going to come up for San Francisco. Are they going to be really good? They've seen it. We've seen in time San Francisco is dominant. Then we've seen a game like last week where it's not. So it just depends how the game is feeling in this one. But I'm with you. I'm confident that he'll feel it. But then there is that Dan Gamble. Hey, man, it's 4th and 25. We're going to go for it, man. Maybe we're going to do a 4th and 25.
Yeah. In fun fact, too,
on the 20 or something. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Something like that. Don't do that in this game.
Be smart.
If we're on our 20 and it's 4th and 4, hey, man, we're going to go for it, man. No, don't do it, man. Don't do that.
Fun fact, by the way, the Lions, the 49ers defense, they're terrible in 3rd and short and closer. So
that's great.
So
that's
for
great.
4th and 1 situations, Dan, Dan Gamble's going to be sitting there going,
4th and 1, man.
Here
we go, fellas.
There we go, man.
The 49ers defensive line, you could say over the last month, they've kind of looking like a shell of themselves. I don't know what it is, but they have been getting manhandled. They've been the team that's kind of been having to absorb that punishment and then find a way to create plays later in the game. It's the same thing that happened last week against the Packers. So the Lions have a chance. Like, if they're like right outside of Badgley range, wherever you feel like that's comfortable, I feel like for everyone it's different, because after 40 yards and out, I'm crossing my fingers, but some people are confident. But if you're in that range, I think there's opportunities. But flipping to the defensive side, Mike, Brian Branch, in my opinion, best cover guy we have when it just comes to pure cover skills. Who do you think he's going to be matched up with? Because with Debo healthy, I would imagine they try to put him on Debo as much as they can. But do you think he's not going to shadow Ayuk, obviously, but do you think they're going to try to put him more on Ayuk, or who do you think will be shadowing Ayuk the most?
I want the best player shadowing Ayuk and right there, and that's Will Harris.
Oh my God! Boot him! Get him out! Get him out!
I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that.
Hey, can there be like a little symbol you put in the sky? It's like Batman, but it's Will Harris, and he just comes down and saves the day. That's what we need.
I think there'd be like a million little bat signals going over San Francisco. Don't do it,
Will Harris, baby.
Will Harris, baby.
All I know is my house would be nothing but beaming of blue if this goes out.
Keep his ass away.
Yeah, man, it's not the bat signal. It's the keep away signal. But look, I'm with you. I do want to see Brian Branch on the best, but with Debo out there, do you put Brian Branch with him or CJ Gardner-Johnson? I don't know, but I'm with you. I want to see the best with the best. But the thing is, we don't know how Debo is. Is he going to be a decoy in this game, or is he really going to take a punishment? What's your guys' feeling on this? If he's a decoy, I would say I'm with you, Luke. I'm with you.
Booner, go ahead, because me and you are in standstill with it.
Yeah, no, I think Debo, and I've been on this all week. He didn't practice to start the week, and he just out of nowhere on Friday or Saturday, they're like, hey, he's practicing. I think that's gamesmanship, and I think there's still some sort. He hurt the same shoulder, same injury earlier this year, and when you hurt something twice, I'm on the fact where the second time it's probably just as bad, if not worse, and he had to sit 2 weeks last time. So I think they're not rushing him back. It's the playoffs, so they want him, but I don't think he's even close to 100%. I think he's got decoy. Yeah. And me and Lucas have said this all week is if CJ Gardner-Johnson puts one big hit on him, he's going to be in some pain. And I don't even think they said earlier this week, he wasn't even able to lift his hands up in practice to catch balls. Yeah. So I don't see it, like a major impact. I would be shocked.
For the 49ers, that's just so risky because in the NFC Championship, like that's the games where you can't have mistakes. And if you're going to put the ball in the hands of a guy that's got a shoulder injury, if he gets hit wrong, that's a fumble right now. You know what I mean? So yeah. I would imagine that he's a decoy. And that's what I'm saying. Like at that point, because with CJ Gardner-Johnson, that's who I prefer on Kittle. Because if he could handle Kelsey in the Super Bowl, I think because obviously Kittle's a hard ass to bring down one-on-one. And with Anzalone dealing with the ribs, I mean, I'd almost rather see CJ try to create plays with Kittle because I think he can limit his down the field plays.
You know, I'm with you. Look, I had 3 separated shoulders and 2 surgeries on my shoulder. I actually did it when I was in the basic training. So when the first time you knock it out, what happens is your ligaments and tendons loosen up. So it's very easy to knock it out again. And when you knock it out again, it gets even easier to knock it out again. You eventually need the surgery. So for me, I'm with you. I think he's going to be somewhat of a decoy, but I know it sounds kind of mean, but I'll be hitting on him. I'll be hitting on him hard on that shoulder. Make him uncomfortable. Yeah. And like you're right, man. Look, if you can knock him out of the game, you can put CJ on Kittle. I would like that matchup. I'd rather have CJ on Kittle than having Jalen Reeves-Maybin on Kittle or Derek Barnes. Someone's a little bit, CJ. He'll get beat every once in a while, but he's a playmaker. He'll make a play. And that's what you have to have. That's why I love with all the safeties that we got with Iffy and CJ and Brian Branch and Kirby's. You got some playmakers there. Yeah, we're going to get torched a little bit, but when it's time to make a play, they make a play every time. So, I agree with you there. I'd do that as well if Debo's out.
It seems like Debo's the type of and a big yak guy, obviously, but he stays upright for so long, and it's almost to his, like, it hurts him. Like, even against the last game against the Packers, like, he had an easy play, just go down. He fights for an extra 3 yards and separates his shoulder again. It's like, all right, well, at this point, man, just go down. But you guys are right, though. I think CJ on George Kittle, that's ideal, man.
I love that. I like that.
You got so much versatility in your secondary.
And he's big, too.
Iffy was running off the line with Mike Evans, and Baker Mayfield just dropped a dot, and Mike Evans made an incredible catch. But last week off the line, because Iffy used to play corner. He's running stride for stride with Mike Evans on a crosser, and they just made a play, but he was in perfect position. So if think about 6'5", Mike Evans as a big wide receiver. It's kind of comparable to George Kittle tight end as far as just a big target. If he's holding his own in coverage, that's plays to be had. Because Kittle catches with his body a lot too. That's his thing. Like he does catch with his hands. Obviously, he's a great tight end, but a lot of times he relies on body catching. So if Iffy, the long arms, can get in front of that, that's plays to be had.
Real
Iffy,
quick,
what a turnaround for this guy.
yeah.
I was just thinking,
For real.
think about like if we didn't have Iffy right now, like he changed
wouldn't
his
be here.
defense so much. Like not just
At
like
the
in
right time,
coverage,
too.
yeah, like
Yep.
his blitzes, like him coming up and making plays at the line, like he has been so big for this defense, like night and day. And I don't want to go at like anyone else, but like him to Tracy Walker, like the game has been a little bit different, and like the defenses look night and day different since he stepped up and started playing.
Oh yeah, if he step up, made it to where Jeff Iafrate and I just cut him off. So Jeff, go ahead and speak.
No, Mike. What were you gonna say? You're good. You're good.
I was just gonna say, man, look, his turnaround has made this defense much better, and we would not be here without Ifutu Melifonwu. This guy has just made big play after big play after big play, and he's big, man. He reminds me of the safety from the Baltimore Ravens, who I really liked come out of the draft with the Aiden Hutchinson draft.
Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton. He reminds me of Kyle Hamilton
Chancellor
quite a
too,
bit.
as far as a build. Like Cam Chancellor was 6'5", just swole ass safety that's going to knock your fucking quarterback's face off. Man.
He taking all sorts of vitamins to get big at the gym, aka steroids.
Yeah. Real quick for people that are just joining, we're joined by our good friend MicroMike. You can check him out. If you don't know who he is, then you're crazy. I don't know. You're living under a rock. Lions Talk by Chat Sports at Lions Today. Mike, before you go here, I want to ask you this. And I don't know if you're going to do it on the stream. If you're not going to, you're going to save it for your content. I respect it. I'm going to ask you to give a score prediction. If you want to save it, that's okay. Nope. And then I'm going to ask you, give one X factor offensively and defensively. Just one important player, the most important player on offense and defense today for the Lions to win. And then give me your score prediction.
27-24 Detroit Lions win.
There you
go.
Boys,
Lions win. You got to manifest this stuff, folks. And I want everybody, I agree with Booner 110%. I've been like this all week. Manifest it. Believe that it can happen and it will happen. So everybody needs to pick the Lions there. Offensively, it's got to be Jared Goff, man. You're going into the biggest environment here. You got to have your playmaker, your quarterback, make the plays. If he doesn't turn the football over and he plays like he has the last 2 weeks, the Lions going to win the game. It's what's going to happen. So it's got to be, for me, Jared Goff. He's going into the Lions den, or the 49ers den. What do you want to call it? And everybody's coming for him. Bosa's coming for him, and they're going to be putting pressure on this guy. So he's got to stand in there and he's got to take it. Defensively, oh man, this is tough. This is tough. It's a tough one. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go with Ali McNeil. I think we got to stop. We got to stop that run, and he's got to have the best game of his career. They're going to try to run it up on us right in the beginning of this game. Ali McNeil, he's got to come in here and be that playmaker to help stop that run. I know he's good at getting a little bit of a rush from a DT perspective, but we got to make sure we stop the run. They turn him one-dimensional. Lions going to win the game.
Yeah, no question about it, Mike.
Real quick. We're talking about positive vibes, Mike. Stars are aligning. Friday, I gave out my score prediction 27-24 as well. We're lockstep right now. We're locked in.
Huge. I was on the Huge show yesterday. He said 27-24.
Let's go. Everything's are aligning here, fellas. Things are aligning.
Going right.
Yeah, that's weird. 27-24. We don't have the script. We promise. This is just how it's going to play out.
I wish I did.
I may have the script.
Well, actually, I think Mike has the script because his name is at 49ers Lions of the Super Bowl. He might already know something. We
don't. Might know something.
Yeah, F the 49ers.
How is he in Ford Field and no one there? I don't get it.
I don't know, man.
Well, Jeff, Ford Field is actually probably empty right now, so I think Mike's actually at Ford Field. I don't know where you are.
Oh yeah, we'll be there. We're
in
later.
Alternate universes right now, talking at the same time. Multiverse.
Yeah, no question about it. We appreciate you, Mike. We got to have you on again. Good luck in all.
You're the man, Mike.
Take it easy,
you guys know
fellas.
where to find Mike. All right, we appreciate you, Mike. We'll talk to you
Lions,
soon.
go Lions.
Go Lions.
Go Lions, baby.